Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hope everybody made the new time. We have 0 people watching. Well, maybe not.
It takes a while to update. I've always
There are
noticed
4
that.
people watching. Hey, welcome to the 4. Hey, if you're watching and you got the message about the new time.
It takes a while to update. I've always
There are
noticed
4 people watching. Hey, is that me or you?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No. I had it over there, and for some reason it wasn't muted. I was like, oh. So I have muted it. It is now totally muted. There was a mutiny over on that side now.
A mutiny?
A mutiny, yes.
Oh,
as it went quiet.
Yep. So here we are in the new year.
Yes, absolutely.
Brand new start. I bet you people have already buggered it up in the first week.
Well, maybe.
So
be interesting to know how many people have already broken their resolutions.
Resolution.
1
week.
Happy
New Year!
Happy New Year!
Sorry, I had to wait for the social community to get here.
I know.
Happy New Year, Candace.
I know. It seems like it's been like a year since I've seen you guys.
Well, I think it wasn't since 2022 anyways.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is that a new background you got going on?
Did you not read her?
Yeah, this is my January background.
Yeah, she moved. That's the new edition that they did in a week.
Did you really, or is he kidding?
He's kidding.
Oh my goodness. Oh, look it's Stephanie's in the house. Hey, Stephanie. Jill's in the house. Bleak 784. It's good to see you. And obviously Ken, hoping he's gonna pop in. And Jill. I think I said Jill. I didn't say Jill. Hi, Jill. Happy New Year, everybody. So lots going on in the news. So I know we've got should we address the new time? We'll do it. We'll do the new time a couple of times here, there, and everywhere. And so we've I know Tim's done it. I'm now saying it. New time, new energy, and still the same old fun topics. Lots on the go, and I wanted to just kind of throw out a few interesting things. I heard about a new grandma scam going on. I want to talk about the hustler generation. Tim sent me a video.
The hustler generation.
The hustler generation.
We can't talk about that. People make the pages stick together.
No, only you. And and then we've got you sent me a video on the benefits of taking your CPP at age 70 and why people.
No, that was from. I got that from. Didn't I get that from you, Candace?
Somebody posted it over on my group. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah. No,
I'd love to talk about that.
I can't take the kudos for that. It's Candace. I got it from.
Okay. So well, I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's an interesting thing. Obviously, the price of some of the stocks in the Bitcoin have moved in like the
sideways.
Well, they've just upped a little bit. They're not so bad going down, but is that going to be a thing for now, forever? What does that look like? So just wanted to dive into some of these topics. And
for those of you who have read the description of tonight's content, that is brought to you by, it's not the normal description. It doesn't have all our links and all this and that. I kept it simple. And it's from Chat
GPT.
Yep. That is, it is there. And just before we went on air, I was talking to Candace and telling her that I had asked like 3 or 4 different questions. So I think at some point in time tonight, I may bring that up depending on the topics. I think I can probably segue that in and just see exactly what Chat GPT said.
And guess what? First time I ever heard about it was on this show. It was with Miss Candace Mountain. She brought it up we had Chris Dancy on, and it's all the rage. And now I feel so informed. This is why you need to come here, because then we talk about these things. So when you're out with a halo around you,
I do.
How is that even happening? Oh, it's the background.
It's that background.
Got a halo around. I'm thinking. I was like, is there something happening here? Anyways, I digress.
Scooby says.
But you know what? Honestly, it came up over the holidays multiple times about Chat GPT, and if we hadn't have talked about it on this channel, I would not have known.
Well, it wouldn't have made headlines.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. We're here to sort of keep abreast of all the new stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And Ken says you're his personal angel tonight. Anyways, okay, so let's dive into a couple of things. Where do you want to start? I barfed out a bunch of topics. What do you want to start with, Candace?
Well, I can talk a tiny bit about why the market is a little greener now than it was in December. That's because all the tax loss harvesting is done. All of these companies, accounts, different things like that have been selling off stocks for tax purposes, they've now got all of this money that they're now starting to put back into the market. So they're starting to say, oh, okay, here's all the money that we harvested. Now let's take a look and see what stocks we want to buy. So a lot of times they do that in early January. So you get a little bit of a rally, which is kind of what we're seeing. And then tomorrow, of course, we got CPI coming out. And I have a feeling it may be positive. So we could have a very green day tomorrow if that CPI comes in our favor, and I think it's going to.
Well, and when you say in favor, you want to see it come down, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. You want to basically see it going under expectation. So when they are expecting it to come down a little bit, you want it to see it come down a little bit plus a bit.
I know, but I'm always leery because the CPI seems to change what they are. When they're reporting it out, they go, well, this time we're removing that and we're not looking at it this way. And it still doesn't mean there's a lot of pain out there, because there is a lot of pain.
Oh, there's still going to be a lot of pain. Because even, taking away a little bit from a lot of pain, it's still a lot of pain.
Yeah.
But where it really will help is if we get some good CPIs, the next couple, for example, that's really going to help the Fed and the Bank of Canada as well start looking at smaller rate hikes. People, I think when it comes to mortgages and interest have, I think a lot of people are burning the candle at both ends when it comes to that. So some good CPI data would be nice. And to see some of these rate hikes come down, that would also be nice.
Yeah. Because we've got
one of our mortgages coming up March or whatever the case is. So we were contacted, 3 months out that we could do an early renewal, so on and so forth. And ours is
variable.
A variable. So they said, here's what you're paying now. And in order to even think about maintaining just the interest payment, you're going up $200 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, a payment. So
now Stephanie was just mentioning something about Chat GPT, and this is something most people don't understand. So if you ask Chat GPT to write you up something and it does, and you're like, oh, well, that's not exactly what I had in mind, you can then just say, hey, can you rewrite that, but maybe put a more emphasis on the finance side? And she'll do it.
Right. Oh,
so you can carry on a conversation with her.
You determined Chat GPT as a female. I love it, Candace. I love it.
Yeah, I just decided because, AI is smarter than humans, so it has to be female.
Has to be. Well, okay, so let's go back to talking a little bit about inflation and pain and all that sort of stuff. Let's go back to talking about inflation and pain, because I think this time last year I was banging the drum pretty hard about what was coming. And I think people thought I was an alarmist. I don't know why people always think I'm an alarmist. I actually am pretty accurate most of the time.
Well, I mean, you plugged into information people couldn't see. So you had the inside scoop. Some people took it and made preparations. Some people were like, oh, she's wearing that tinfoil hat again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know what? There's good news there's good news stories happening out there. A lot of innovation is happening around this space. And I took a tour of a facility last week. A really dear friend of mine who I worked with, she left and went to this company. And I'm going to give them a little plug because I think they're fabulous. It's called Goodleaf, Goodleaf. It's a vertical farming facility. It's in an industrial building. It looks like, you drive into it like you would drive into an industrial area. And it's got the equivalent of, I think she said, 48,000 acres of farm of growing potential. what they grow, it's all hydroponically. Well, there's hydroponics. I don't want them to get mad if I don't say what it is, but it's grown it's from seed to harvest. I think it was like 10 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 14 days tops. And they simulate a spring-like condition in their facility. Their lights are all spring-like, so that it gets seeded, and then it's goes into a very, very warm environment, dark and warm. So it allows the germination of the seeds to come up really, really quickly. And then it moves from that room to the room where they have the actual growing. And they had these big cylinders, and they were blowing on the leaves to make them hardy, to kind of simulate what it would be like out in the field. And then they had spring light growing on it on a regular basis. And the nutrients, there's no herbicides, pesticides. This is the most clean ingredients you will ever get on a growth. And so I learned a ton about these are not sprouts. These are micro plants. So they had micro broccolis. They had micro arugulas. They had so many really cool lettuce blends, and it's all here locally grown and from seed to table. Like, you could have those items and they're in the grocery store. You'll be able to find them, and their price point is amazing because, again, you're not transporting it, the freshness, the quality. So I sat and sampled different lettuces and sprouts and greens, and it was so great. So you're going to see it on par with the stuff coming in from California, but it's the freshness and the taste of it. And they're not trying to replace field farmers, and they're not trying to replace greenhouse. They just have a niche unto themselves. Up until now, we have never really been able to successfully, on large scales, grow spring mix and broccolis and stuff. Not broccoli, spring mix primarily, but lettuces. We've always imported that stuff. Well, look at the problems going on in California. Not only are you getting like less quality, but it's being transported, the carbon footprint to get that up here. This is being grown in Guelph, in an industrial area, right there.
Have you heard anything about all the weather patterns that are hitting California? Is that going to affect anything?
Oh, yeah.
Any of the growing down there?
Oh yeah, we're gonna see it again.
We get washed away.
Well, we had all that rot just before they moved to Yuma, Arizona. So there's a growing pattern for California. So California has 2 growing seasons, and when they're not growing, then the whole facilities move down to Yuma, Arizona. But this weather stuff is going to really hamper what's going on down there. We just don't know the impact yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, the weather system that California is being hit with is the same one that hit our West Coast last year. So it's pretty bad.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Ken.
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
First timer, are we?
Long time listener, first time
caller.
You're too funny. You're too funny. But so just we're talking, and I know you were listening. So we're just talking about inflation and the inflationary pressures. I was at something last night. Where was I? Oh, and was listening.
That was called bed.
Was listening to the folks talk about the price of it was yesterday at lunch. We were talking about the price of heating your home and how that's gone right through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed your heating bills have gone up, Ken?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
How much do you think you've gone up, would you say?
$15 to $30 a month, I'd say.
So you add that in. So you got the higher price on your mortgage. You got your higher price to your heating, the higher price for fuel, like so gasoline prices. What else has been going up outside of food?
Well, there's natural gas.
That's heat and hydro. the food pricing is outrageous now. Like I can't even get over. I used to think getting to take 2 bags out for $150 was outrageous.
We were with some friends we hadn't seen for a while, and they were telling us about. We were asking about another sort of acquaintance that we know through them, and asked how they were doing. And one of the comments was how the wife had sort of grown to become a toothpick. Like, I mean, really lost weight, so on and so forth. Of course, whenever that happens, you say, well, is it health? Is it something? No, it's just they're cutting back. And one of the things they're cutting back on is food.
You know what she said she was cutting back on? Eggs, because they're too expensive. I will tell you, eggs is one of the most affordable protein.
Yeah.
If you look at it per each, don't look at the package. Take the package, divide it by, so if you're paying
12,
you might buy an 18 pack.
Oh.
I was going to say buy whatever size you get. So what do you pay for eggs? Candace, do you know the last time you bought eggs?
No.
I got a good one actually. We were at Walmart and I can't remember what's a Ridgeway or Ridge something the brand's called.
Yeah, Gray Ridge.
Gray Ridge. 18 was like, I think it was $7 or $8 for 18, right? But if you were to buy the Walmart brand and get 24, get 2 cartons, it worked out that the price of the per egg was actually cheaper that way than it was buying the 18. So you still got to watch out because they are still doing that in the grocery stores, making you think you're getting a deal. But if you keep looking, you'll find actually a better deal.
The only thing I will say is that there is different grades, number one, and different sizing of eggs. So when you see the pricing, you just got to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, they were both extra large eggs.
Were they?
No. Yeah, if I want double yolkers, then I have to go to the farmer here to get them.
Yeah. Well, and extra large eggs, do you guys know, well, now we're getting down into a food rabbit hole, but do you guys know about the different egg sizes, why they are small, medium, large, and extra large? Have you guys know why that is?
No.
Different size chickens?
Phil might know though.
Okay, Phil,
Ooh.
if I'm wrong, you can feel free to correct me, but I believe when I took a tour of the egg farm, the smalls are made by newer chickens. So the older the hen that's doing the laying, the bigger the egg. And then if you get different varieties, like if you wanted to get those ones that have omega, it's what they're feeding them. It's it's in the feed. So they would be given flaxseed and things that have see?
No, it says the smallest chicken makes the largest egg.
So maybe it's age and size.
Phil, is yours? I am right.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm wrong on this. I was pretty sure I got that down. I wrote notes. And so when you're comparing, it's not just about comparing, doing the price comparison, also do the size comparison. So, and sometimes like an 18 pack, that's 44 cents an egg. So if, for instance, you wanted to have 3 eggs for dinner, which is a sizable portion, whether you do poached eggs on toast, whether you do an omelet, whether you do a frittata, scramble, whatever, that's still only $1.50 per portion. And you tell me, and that's a very good size of a protein portion. You tell me what other meat you can get at $1.50 a portion.
Right. And eggs, whatever you want to call them, eggs, whatever, they're actually not that bad for you, as previously people were saying with the cholesterol and whatnot.
Cholesterol, yeah.
Right.
They're actually a healthier protein.
Yeah.
From livestock.
Yeah, they're one of the most healthy. So, so Tim's not wrong, though, but this woman was going crazy because she couldn't justify spending. She was looking at the overall carton price. And when you look at the overall carton price, it is, it's that sticker shock, right? So then we're going to have to find ways to do things a little bit differently. But we still need a good quality protein source. You know, your health means something too, but I get it. And these two are retired. They're on a fixed income. So people who are on fixed income or low income, they've got to be feeling the pinch of this like there's nobody's business. And then we have to get away from prepackaged things and get into doing a lot of stuff from scratch. So I got watching these crazy shows on people who have $50 a week to feed a family of 4, and how do they do it? Now, I will say that these are from the States, so this is not realistic for Canada, but some of it was really rather good information. Like, you know, instead of buying a can of beans in tomato sauce, just buy a full big bag of beans. I watched them do them. It's not that hard. I don't know why I thought it was hard. You know, you see the hard beans and you go, what am I going to do with these things? No. You just soak them overnight. Then you cook them. That's it.
Look at that. Just wait till you see how cheap cricket protein is soon. Trudeau put over 200 million of taxpayers' money into cricket farms.
No, for sure. No, no cricket powder. That is the newest protein powder. You think you didn't like the soy protein powder or that new protein powder I'm giving you? Wait till you get cricket powder.
Yeah, but
I'm willing to try it.
We were talking.
I don't care where it comes from.
We briefly covered this on one of my shows on the weekend. And Phil mentioned there's actually something in crickets that's bad for humans.
Bad?
Does Phil feed his chickens crickets? Because I would think that they would eat some insects like that.
Oh, they should. Yeah.
Well, there's some statistic out there that in our lifetime, we, in our sleep, eat X amount of pounds of insects.
You eat it with not even being in sleep. You eat it. Everybody consumes bugs. You just don't realize you're consuming bugs.
Spiders at night when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
He gets
or
bit.
Doug Ford when he's doing a press conference and a bee lands in his mouth.
Right.
Well, for the team.
Right.
Now let's just throw this up in the air now. Okay, so with food costs being so much, and considering that the human race does overindulge in food, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Could be a good thing for health, could be a bad thing for crime.
Like, do you think more people will be purchasing less healthy food because it's cheaper?
Yeah.
Or do you think
because they want to make it go further?
Right. So then they don't want to change their lifestyle. They still want to.
Well, you think about how far a bag of rice can go.
Right. But if you take a look at, like, go back to the 50s and 60s and look at the size of a donut, the size of a hamburger compared to now.
Yeah, exactly, Ken.
Like,
exactly.
We are driven to consume for some reason.
Well, and not only that, but I'm thinking most people didn't have as much prepackaged stuff as we have now. That's number one.
Yeah.
And like there is some cost savings in a grocery store. Even if you went to the section at the back of the grocery store where they're giving off they've got their produce greatly reduced, you can take some of that stuff. It's not bad. I mean, it doesn't look nice, but like they have the bananas that are turning brown. If you are a smoothie lover, why on God's green earth would you not go pick up those brown bananas? Seriously, take them out of the peel, roughly chop them up and put them in a baggie or in a container, pop those in the freezer. Now you've got frozen banana, cheaper frozen banana. Like, it is the easiest thing and the cheapest thing. When they got that on sales, if you are a smoothie person, get that.
or banana bread.
Or banana bread, or it can go in a lot. It's got a lot of applications.
Anytime we had bananas spoiling when I was growing up, my mom always threw them in the freezer for banana bread. You guys didn't eat it? Well, guess what? You're going to eat it in 6 months when I make banana bread at Christmas, kind of thing, right? So,
right. The trick with it is take the peeling off and roughly chop it so that it's in usable sizes when you freeze it. If you try to do it, you can't get the peel off. If you throw it in without the peel, then you can't get the peel. Now it's just mush. Anyway.
I don't know. I prefer Swiss banana bread.
How do you put the holes in it?
I don't know, but it's holy, right? So let's do it.
You can upsell that. You could be like, this is Swiss from the Swiss Alps, $10 a load. Somebody would buy it. Somebody out there would be like, oh my God, I gotta have it. It's from Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. So
Here's my Amazon link.
there is a whole bunch, and maybe every week we'll do a little bit of an update and a little tip on extending your food budget. But like here's the crazy thing. We love turnip in this house, rutabaga, the waxed rutabaga. Do you know how many people probably love turnip, but they find it hard to cut? And so they buy the pre-peeled, pre-cut, turnip so that they can make it fast and easy. But you've added labor cost in there because somebody's had to process and handle it. We learned an amazing tip, and I think we talked about it on our show a couple of weeks ago or just before Christmas. You take the whole turnip, wrap it in paper towel, microwave it for 10 minutes, maybe more if it's a bigger turnip. You take it out, all the wax comes off the turnip, and the peel practically falls off the darn thing. Quickly wrap it in tinfoil and leave it sitting there for 20-25 minutes. It mushes down, and you just squish it down like you do a baked potato. Like it's same principle as baking a potato. You can cut it up roughly, you can mash it, you can do whatever you want with it, and it is amazing that way.
Nice.
Cheaper alternative.
Candace is going to go and try that.
She doesn't believe me.
She doesn't like turnip.
No. Turnip is my number one hated food of all time.
See?
If I was ever given the power to eliminate one thing from the earth forever, it would be the turnip.
I thought it would have been the anti-banana bread gang.
Nope. The turnip has to go.
Oh my gosh, it's one of my faves.
Well, here's the thing. Growing up, I thought I hated mashed potatoes, but it's because my mom used to cut up and put turnips in it.
Oh.
And then I wasn't allowed to leave the dinner table until I ate it all. So I'd have to use half a bottle of ketchup to drown out the taste of the turnip. That's the only way I could eat it. And then I found out years later that it was actually the turnip I hated and not the potatoes.
I'm wondering if it's the earthy taste to it. Is that what it is?
I don't know. It's just disgusting. It makes me dry heave.
Well, you know what's funny is that some people, I have a girlfriend who can't stand beets. I love beets. I could eat a big bowl of beets. I love them that much. She can't, and she goes, it's the dirt. It tastes like dirt to her.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, Jill says I'll eat turnips if they're in a shawarma. If you put a turnip in something and I don't taste the turnip, I'm going to eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's the same idea of the ketchup. If you disguise the taste, then sure.
But in a shawarma, it's usually pickled, right?
Yeah, and pickled does tend to be a little bit better too.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Hey, Sharab, it's nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit we talked about inflation and the pinch that everybody's under, which brings us back to why we all started together 2 years ago, was because there was with this concept of nickeling and diming and either pinching some pennies to put away for investments or to invest our way out of, like doing small little investments. And so it's that time of year to be thinking about, should I do a little side hustle? Should I pick up another gig? Do we, refinance, not refinance, but like figure out your finances and all that sort of stuff. So I was funny because I was listening to News Talk 1010, which is a radio station in Toronto, CFRB. And they were talking about the hustler generation, that this is the hustler generation. And there's a mindset shift where people are saying, they were talking about it from a psychology point of view, which was the people, you feel like if I'm always busy, I'm busy at work and I'm hustling and and then I go home and I do my side hustle, that then, that's how your worth is set up for yourself. And I thought, oh my gosh, I had to bring it up with our little team here and go, does everybody feel that way? Like, because we all have our day jobs and then we're all hustling in some levels. Do you think that was correct? Like that had some bearing on that there was a psychological thing about wanting to succeed and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I mean, I think it just boils down to survival. If you just go out and get yourself a regular old 9 to 5 job, it's not going to cut it. You're not going to get ahead. I mean, if you want to get ahead, you've got to start creating those extra income streams. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to, do you want to have a life in debt where you never get ahead, or do you want to actually get somewhere? If you do, well, then side hustles are for you for sure.
Yeah, and side hustle business, as long as your business makes less than $30,000 a year, no tax.
Right.
HST, right?
Oh, I don't know which one it is. I just heard no tax under 30,000. I bought a computer at a computer store the one time, and that's what was on the receipt. It said he said my company makes less than $30,000 a year, so I am not going to tax you. It was actually printed on the receipt.
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
But you're still supposed to file.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so and Marie Claude is saying she's sure feeling it, and she's thinking about starting DoorDash soon. And so this is a woman. Correct me if I'm.
Doesn't that set the new name for Nikki 9 Doors?
Stop it. And this is a woman that works you got a very physical job, I believe, Marie Claude. You're working in a mechanical repair shop, and then to be able to
motorcycles, I think.
Yep. And then to turn around and after working physically all day long, then to turn around and go and do DoorDash at night. That's really telling, but
now I actually have a question about the DoorDash and all that. Do you have to let your insurance company know, because you're using your vehicle for business, so you'd have to pay a different type of premium, correct?
Well,
and if you didn't, you got into an accident, what are the ramifications of that?
There are some setups, Ken, that actually you can choose to take, I guess I'm going to call it separate coverage or additional coverage through DoorDash for vehicles.
Oh, okay, cool.
I believe.
Something that I never knew. Did you know about that, Candace?
If you're going to do Uber or whatever the case is, if it's your vehicle, you have the responsibility technically to inform the insurance, because when we had Nancy, all of our vehicles were personal except for the one I used for business, and they asked us if Nancy used it for work. Well, she was on the road sales, and we had to say yeah. And they said approximately how many kilometers a year. So it did bump it up a bit, but because of what she was doing and because of her exposure,
right,
the insurance company can turn around and cover you for minimum amounts and or deny coverages in certain cases if you're not upfront. They love that. They love the loopholes that you get away with it until you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering, because I know a lot of the DoorDash and Uber Eats and Uber drivers here, they actually lease vehicles, and they pay whatever
company owned.
They pay like $200 a month to lease the vehicle, and that's their business.
Yeah. Yep. So it's all wrapped up into the one. Yeah. So I'm wondering, is anybody else starting any side hustles? Because we talk about it all the time, but it's only because this topic interests us so much. I think about way back when, and we kind of giggle over it because everybody else was really focusing on getting their YouTube channel up. And what was I doing? I was taking plungers and making bird baths out of them. I really didn't.
Did it stick?
You know what? The one I think sold for $30, but I had beefed it up. I had put lots of rocks around it, and it was on wood. It was quite a big thing after it was all said and done, with basically rock sticks and the bottom of a plunger. But you know what? That bird bath, man, it's the perfect bird bath. Think about it. Little tiny for a little tiny bird. Anyways, but you have to, it takes time and it takes energy and so on and so forth. And so if you got anybody in the comments that is doing a side hustle, would love to know about it. Like, what are you going to do to combat some of these inflationary times? I mean, it is challenging, and we called it. We said it was going to be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you're over your head. Join the channel Wednesday nights at 7:00, come and tell us, talk to us about what's going on, and maybe we'll help you generate some ideas. Now, this is an idea that
guess what?
What?
Hey, guess what? Guess who got a Shake Pay Visa?
You did?
Oh, you got the number? And
Hey?
is it a
I
physical
got a virtual card?
When did that happen?
I got a message today, personalized message saying you're one of the people who've got a Shake Pay virtual card. Expiry, I can use it online. I can use it. I can just totally get rid of my Royal Bank visas and use this now.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, we've been using.
And I put a request in for some merch.
Oh, wow. We've been using the Shake Pay everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. So Tim preloads my Shake Pay. So I know Gary is one of on my team in my Shake Pay group. I've still got room. Still got room for my group. If anybody's looking for a Shake Pay buddy, Tim's with Ken, I think, right?
Yep. How are we doing, Ken?
I don't know. I used my card yesterday to pay for the rest of the vet bill, which was $206. Hoping to get Shake paid, but I didn't. I only got back 17,000 stats.
So our total squad sats are 690,000.
It would be a hell of a lot more if I could get myself my numbers, because I'd be paying everything. Even if I had to pay a $2 processing fee to pay my hydro bill, I'd still do it.
I got a reply back from Shake Pay. It says, "Thanks for reaching out. We hope you enjoy the new feature. I can certainly see about getting some merch sent out to you. We can't guarantee exactly what we will send by our team, but we will let you know what we will let them know you're interested."
Okay, so Marie Claude.
Can you share your shirt size and confirm your hat size and mailing address, and I can provide the team.
Oh my God. Now we're going to, on top of having to tell everybody why we have to double tap every time I have to go.
We don't have to tell everybody. There's only 15 people in the chat.
No, every time I go to Tim Hortons or anywhere else to get a coffee, I'm going, I need to double tap. Don't take the thing away. I got to double tap. Anyways, so Marie Claude wants to know what a Shake Pay buddy is. So Ken, can you and before I poke him in the nose, will you explain what the group is and how you can collect points together, please?
Go ahead, Tim.
Thanks for that introduction.
Tim knows more about it than I do. I just joined the squad.
What it is, it's Mary Claude. It's a team of 5 people that make up the team, and you combine the group combines the number of purchases, which is converted into sats, and how and what you shake. So it's a competition. It's a competition right now, I believe, for teams, and the team is 5. So it's well worth. I mean,
I think it's only Gary and I, Marie Claude.
You probably have a little bit to catch up to.
Tim, you know how much I spend. You preload mine. You know what I'm spending. Are you saying you're spending more than me?
I'm not saying anything. I'm taking the 5th.
Tim, put her on a financial diet.
I'm always on a financial diet. He's the one that has to give me the money. Okay, I have a funny story to tell you guys that has to do with my mom. So, okay.
Which one are you telling?
Just one second.
Oh, boy.
Let's make sure Marie Claude knows.
So it involves the credit card. Yes, I'm not going to speak for Candace and Ken, but what I like about the Shake Pay credit card is it's prepaid. So it doesn't hold a credit line. It doesn't hold interest. It's total like a reversal. And the incentive is that you're stacking sats, right? Like, I mean, this is in addition to my DCAing in, which I still am doing twice at $10.
1 year, one full year.
1 full year, man. And I'm praying, like, some of the people are saying, look, we could see a $10,000 bottom on Bitcoin. It's like, please, yes, please, because I'll just go in and I'll just increase my DCA while it's down there. But Mary Claude, what it does is you load on as you need. And once you use it, it doesn't roll over into a line of credit, roll into an overcharge or an overdraft. And that's what I love about it.
I've actually stopped shaking.
Yeah, I've got
Why?
I think my record's
I'll tell you why. because the amount with Bitcoin at the price it's at now, the amount I'll actually make by shaking for the year, it pretty much is the same amount it's going to cost me to import all of that through one of them Coinly or something like that. So I'm not really making anything by doing that other than creating an extra hassle at tax time. So I'm like, until Bitcoin is worth a little more, no more shaking.
So you don't.
But is it really a hassle though? Because it's going from ShakePay to you, and you're not doing nothing.
Well, I don't use the ShakePay card, so you know,
Oh,
the only thing I had was just those
Shit.
sats. So it's like it's just not worth it.
So for Marie Claude or anybody else in the chat, if you're looking for a team, how did we?
Well, it's just.
How do I know what my team is?
Oh boy. Here, you keep talking.
Tim's
I'll
gonna
do the
figure out
talking.
what my team is because I don't know. But Gary Matthews, who's a regular in here.
Mary Claude, do you have ShakePay? For anyone of those who have ShakePay,
she has it.
You
She
have a
says she has
username.
it.
Pardon me?
She says she has it in the chat that she has ShakePay.
She has it?
Yeah.
Oh, I have ShakePay. Okay, good. So what you have to do is, Mary Claude, you need to go to your ShakePay, open up the app on the phone, go to the card, and you will join a squad, or we can.
What's my squad name?
At Nancy Danter.
My squad name is at Nancy Danter. So if you're out there and you're watching.
So no, Mary Claude, what you do is need to send us your name, and we can. Nancy has 3 more openings for her team. So if you send, whether you want to personal message it or whether you want to put it out publicly, one of the two, and then Nancy can send you an invitation, and you can be on her team.
Yay! So.
And her team's name, really?
What is
it? Shook me all night long.
You made that up.
I did not.
I did not make that up.
I did not. Oh, okay.
Anyways, we all know whose sense of humor that is. So yes. Anyways, so Candace is not shaking anymore. Ken, you're still shaking?
Oh yeah. I shake and I use the card Monday through Friday at Timmy's.
Yeah.
Plus any extras, like the vet was $206 yesterday, and whatever I need, sometimes I use it.
Well, if you're into Bitcoin like we are, then this makes sense. And if you're not, then it doesn't make sense. And don't.
And I hold that extra $1,000 on there, so I get like 5,600 sats every Wednesday. I think it is something like 5660 or something.
Yeah. Mary Claude, check it. I've just sent you an invitation from Nancy.
There you go. You're on the team.
If indeed that is your handle, so just make sure you check your handle when you open up your ShakePay as well, just to confirm that. Otherwise, I'll cancel it and resend it.
Okay, so we were talking about.
So, and the other thing about ChatGPT that I was telling Candace was, I was messing around with it. Some things I was just messing around with, other than our intro or our description for tonight. And one of the things I put in is Bitcoin a store of value? Now, this is ChatGPT's response. Bitcoin is often described as a store of value similar to gold. A store of value is an asset that maintains its value over time and can be used to store wealth or as a medium of exchange. Like gold, Bitcoin is decentralized, has a limited supply, and is not backed by a government or traditional institution. This lack of centralization and backing by tangible assets make it similar to gold as a store of value, as the value of both is based on the perceived value by its holders. However, there are also some notable differences between Bitcoin and traditional stores of value like gold. The value of Bitcoin is highly volatile and can fluctuate greatly in a short period of time. It is considered as a speculative asset, and its value is largely driven by speculation and investor sentiment. Additionally, it's still a relatively new technology and not widely adopted as a means of payment, which makes its real-world utility more limited than gold. Because of its volatility and speculative nature, Bitcoin may not be a suitable store of value for everyone, especially for those looking for stability and long-term preservation of wealth. However, some investors view it as a hedge against inflation and a potential alternative to traditional investments. Overall, Bitcoin can be seen as a store of value, but it's not without its risks and uncertainties. It might not be considered as traditional or might not be considered as traditional or stable one. That was what ChatGPT said, and I asked. So there.
Which is pretty much what we already know about it.
I mean, I'll just say this: if somebody said to me tomorrow, "I'll give you $10,000 in gold or $10,000 in Bitcoin," I'd take the gold.
Would you really?
I would. Until regulation happens, I don't have a lot of faith in Bitcoin going too much higher. So I would go with the gold.
I think the regulation is coming though.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, probably. I think regulation will happen probably within 2 years, but until then, Bitcoin isn't going to do a lot. I mean, it'll rise and fall a little bit, but I don't think you won't see new all-time highs, definitely without regulation.
Right. As soon as it's regulated, well, I was watching something. Oh, it was a Michael Saylor interview the other day. And he's at some conference, I think, that's going on in California for like crypto and whatnot. And he was saying that a few years ago, when he first was looking into buying all his Bitcoin, he went to Bank of America, which is where he does his banking, and he asked if they could get the deal done for him, and they said, "Oh no, we're not even allowed to talk about it. We're not even allowed to talk about it." And so he said, "Okay, great. I need you to prepare a wire transfer for $150 million, and I'm going to be transferring it out to wherever he bought his Bitcoin." Anyways, fast forward 3 years, he got a message from Bank of America. So his executive assistant brought him a form from his personal banker at Bank of America. And the form was saying, "You need to sign this straight away." And he's like, "What do I need to sign this thing for?" And he goes, "So we can buy and sell your crypto." That's Bank of America.
What, for everybody that's listening, what is regulation going to do to Bitcoin?
It's going to allow, don't you think, Candace? I'll let you answer this one.
What it'll do is it's going to create some legitimacy in the eyes of institutional investors. So pension funds, for example, if you were to take all of the pension funds across North America, if they all were to all of a sudden allocate 5% towards crypto, that's a massive influx of money. That's more money than what retail pumped in during the pandemic. So that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah. They have to have a way, Ken, in order when you're doing if you're a publicly traded company, you have to be able to account for your monies on your balance sheet and your income statements and all of your financial reporting, because they are highly regulated. If you're on the stock exchange, you're highly regulated on what you can and can't report out on your earnings. And Candace can speak to this way more than I can, because this is not my area of expertise at all. If you want to know about lettuce, I'll tell you about lettuce and egg, but Candace can tell you about what goes on with the SEC and all that stuff.
Is that going to be able to make it less volatile?
It should. I mean, once you have more and more money into it, that in itself should create a much more stable environment, and that will patter out some of the larger volatility. There's always going to be some volatility. Everything has it. Even the most stable stock has a certain amount of volatility. But you add, it's kind of like, look at it this way. Think of a lake. If you hit a lake with a rock, you create a lot more waves than if you hit an ocean with a rock. Right. Because it's just the general size. Less volatility when you have a much larger pool of money, because it can easily handle little variations a lot easier.
Right. And regulation, Ken, is giving the perceived stability. And, it's, without, I mean, don't forget this, and this is just the U.S. giving the regulation. I don't know of any, correct me if I'm wrong.
The thing is, though, once the U.S. gives regulation, a lot of other countries will follow suit pretty quickly.
I don't know, though, because everybody's trying to decouple from the USD, right? So to further that, since it's a world currency, how is the regulation really going to work when they can still cause all this volatility, say in Japan or Russia or wherever there's not like,
Right,
because
but
the way, but see the way our stock market's regulated, it's regulated within our country.
that's right. But go sandbox by sandbox. Just look at the amount of money, institutional money in the US that is willing to go into Bitcoin once there's regulation. That is a massive amount of money. And that's enough to start making a big difference, especially with volatility. I know you're thinking world, but a lot of the world doesn't have a lot of money. There's a lot of third world out there that doesn't have a lot of that institutional money. Most of that institutional money is going to be in some of your big countries like the United States, parts of Europe, China, things like that. Those are the countries that have all that money. So it doesn't take that many of them to start creating that stability and to really pump up the overall value as well as the market cap.
There is the opinion and there is the point of view also that, what's happening right now with the price going sideways for the most part, and with the potential of it dropping down even further, is that it's basically cleaning house on the retail side.
Well, and
it's only
Ahmad just mentioned that he's waiting for the halving. Imagine if regulation and the halving both came in 2024.
Be very exciting.
Very exciting for people who are holding Bitcoin, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, because when you have a halving, then the amount per block becomes less. You'll have a lot of miners cashing out.
Well, you might, but at the same time,
the cost of
initially you're going to have, the supply is going to start getting smaller. It's going to shrink in that sense. I mean, it doesn't technically shrink, but the new stuff coming in is going to really shrink.
The amount every 10 minutes.
And even if you start pulling miners out, I mean, it's going to limit the amount that's in there, and you're not going to have it maximized. So I think it'll work out. I think it'll actually be very interesting in 2024 to see how this all works. And keep in mind too, there's other ways. Like, I'm sure you could, you could find a consensus as a way to find other ways to compensate miners to keep them in the game, because obviously they have to be sort of thinking long term that as you keep going through these halvenings, you need to keep a certain amount to keep the miners in there. So there's going to be other ways to compensate them. They just have to get that put into into the nodes and get the nodes all to agree on them, but it'll happen.
We're just going through a cleansing. I mean, it was bound to happen. And, now I'm hearing more and more. And as, at the beginning, when we first started doing this channel and doing the stream and stuff like that, we were pumped guys and we were this person and that person. And, we
still pumped.
Well, okay. But you pumped. But anyway, you can weed them out for the influencers and people who are unbiased or people who are okay type of deal. But now what I'm hearing when I watch different people is they're pushing it out to, 2024, 2025, when we're going to see something happen with Bitcoin and any of the altcoins and stuff like that. Whereas, last year at this time, it should be, they were talking this year.
Right.
And it just goes to prove that no one knows what they're talking about. They just got to let it. Whoever's in is in, and they should stay in and not cash out, and just let it ride, because this is the time when you're going to reap the benefit.
You can't predict who's going to buy and sell, right? And unfortunately, last year we had a big sell-off, right?
Well, and as people are struggling with their finances, they're gonna need to liquidate, and that's some of these discretionary investments, because that's what people would look at. We just looked at it like this was our long-term plan, and it was stuff we were willing to lose. So I kind of like set it and forget it. The dollar cost average is going. We set it, forget it, and but we've budgeted for that in our little. If you don't have the money, then don't do it. If it's too volatile for you, don't do it. It's just a long-term plan, and I think I've always thought, by 2030, God help me if at 2030 it doesn't happen. I will be crying and you guys will be picking me up on where's Nancy? She's under the bed in the fetal position, sucking her thumb. But
as long as you're in profit, it's all good, right?
Right. And I know our friends at the Canadian Bitcoiners who have jumped on. It's probably Len. Hi guys, and yeah, they don't love Pomp anymore either. I think I was watching one of their
I don't
shows.
know that they were ever fans of Pomp, to be honest with you.
I don't think they were fans of anybody that pumps things. I don't think they.
No,
I don't
no,
think
they
they
weren't.
like.
You're absolutely right. Yeah,
they're
because
not
it was
pump and
fake. It
dump
was fake. You
guys.
know, they're more, true and tried and true. Len and Joey are more tried and true, right? Like,
Yeah.
Give me the facts, don't give me the bullshit, right?
Yeah. So I do have one more topic to talk about or to unpack, and then we can, open it up for other things. Or I could probably come up with a couple more. But I was sitting in a meeting today. A gal stopped by my office, and she was telling me that her mother almost got scammed by the grandma scam. Have you guys heard about this terrible scam going on?
No.
Okay, so the scammers are really, really good at this, and what they do is they call. If they get an older person on the phone, that you can tell if it's an older person on the phone by their voice. The person who, it's usually a young male, and he sounds young, like teenager-ish, and he goes, "Grandma," and the grandma, because if they have a grandson, will go, "Joey, is that you?" Or "Billy, is that you?" Or "Francois, is that you?" And then the kid starts to cry. "Oh, Grandma, I'm in really big trouble," and goes on, tells this big tale about how they were caught with drugs in the car and they've been taken into custody and they have to post bail and they need $9,000, and they say something about, "Well, we should call your mom." "Don't call Mom," and starts to cry even harder. "I just need your help. I don't want Mom to get involved." And they give some story about why you can't call the mom, and she's like, "Well, how do I get a hold of you?" And goes, "Just you have to meet this person here at this cop is going to show up, and he's going to meet you at this location, and you have to get the $9,000." She literally fell for it. So my girlfriend that at work, her mother fell for this. And she went to the bank, got the 9,000 out, and was driving to the drop-off spot. And the thought was, she thought, "I'm just going to call back his cell phone." Because he said in his thing, "Don't call my cell phone, it's dead. Like it's not working. Or it's about to die. My cell phone's about to die. I don't have long." And she decided to call the grandson. She called, and the real grandson, answered the phone. "Grandma, is everything okay?" She goes, "Your phone's working." "Yeah, my phone's working." And he's like, "You're okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay. What are you talking about?" And then she realized that she'd been scammed. But if he hadn't have picked up because he was in class, because it was the middle of the day, if he hadn't picked up because he's not allowed to pick up while he's in the middle of school, and she would have lost her $9,000. And so my girlfriend said to me, she goes, "There's even big posters right in the bank that talk about this."
Oh, wow.
Right in the bank. But it bears repeating, so that if you've got an older person that you are in contact with, you need to repeat the story to them and explain people are going to call. And even if the kid says, don't call me, or "I don't want you to talk to anybody," it's okay. Talk to us and we'll help you through it. Nobody's going to get upset. But the banks, so when she took her money back to the bank, so my friend took her mom back to the bank, put the money back in the bank, and the bank says, "This is not covered under CDI, CDIC. It's not covered under any insurance. If you are scammed, you are scammed, and you are done."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've actually been seeing something really interesting lately. Every so often now, on one of the calls that come in through on my phone, I get a little message underneath the number saying "likely fraud."
Yeah.
Oh,
Fraud alert.
really?
Yeah.
Suspect fraud, I think it says, or suspected fraud on mine.
So yeah, that's something new. I mean, I don't answer my phone anyway. It's like, if you call me, you're leaving a message or you're not talking to me.
Same with if you lose your wallet. If the people use the tap, the bank won't cover that either, because it was your choice to have tap activated on your bank card.
That's why the other good thing about the Shake Pay is it's two, you can click on it,
Space.
but you need my face recognition. That's why it's double tap.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a tap, highly recommend double tap. You can do all of that stuff. It doesn't take any longer to do it, and you can put it on face recognition. Anyhow, so that was my little 2 cents for the scamming topic. Has anybody else got anything of interest that you want to banter back and forth about? Any cool investments, Candace? What are you looking at for your investment portfolio?
I'm always looking at stuff. Right now, I've just mostly been playing in the day, making money doing that. And just sort of letting things like I haven't topped up my TFSA yet because there's new money now because 6,500 more room. But I have been eyeing a few things. I have started putting a little bit into QQCC. So it's a stock. It's basically it's an ETF that does the NASDAQ, but it has a really good dividend because it uses covered calls. So I've been putting money into that because I'm starting to look now towards the bull market because I'm thinking probably I would say in the fall, we're going to see that bull market starting to show up. And tech is going to rebound when that happens.
TACC?
No, QQCC.
What did you call it?
QQCC?
Yeah, but what did you call it?
Oh, it's an ETF.
Yeah.
And that ETF replicates the performance of the NASDAQ, which is the tech server. Basically, it's like your
tech. TECCH. I was thinking you were saying like that construction company, TACC.
No. Oh no, technology. So, because that's good. With the bull market, every time I go to say bull market, I still say bear market just because I'm so used to saying bear market now. But with the bull market, set to come back, we're going to see a lot of really cool gains coming up. So I think that's one of those stocks that I'm pretty keen on. The fact that while I'm waiting for that to happen, the covered calls are keeping a half decent dividend coming in. Like it's what is it? I think it's around 13%. It's either 13 to somewhere between 13 and 14% return on that dividend. So
on the QQCC,
yeah, it's got a really good dividend.
Wow. And Bleak 784 has it as well.
Yeah.
And Teddy Gator saying go Tesla. Do you have any Tesla?
No, but I might pick up. I might throw some into the Tesla, the new purpose ETF for Tesla, the high yield one, because they're using covered calls on that, and they're giving about a 20. I think it's between 24, around 24, might be 25% yield on that. So it's really high.
That's amazing.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Did you write that one down? What she just said?
Yeah. I'll go back and watch your video. It's even better.
Exactly. It's in the purpose video.
Well, that's good. I did have one more topic that I brought up at the very beginning of the stream. It was a video that somebody posted in your group chat. You've got a live group chat. You should explain to everybody if they want to, off of Facebook, if they want to get in on that chat. But the person that put this in, the video was, you sent it to me about whether or not it's better to wait till you're 70 to access your CPP. And so I wanted to get Candace. Did you end up watching the video? It wasn't very long. It was
I've watched the video. Pretty much for most people, it's beneficial to wait till you're 70 because basically the later you take your CPP, the more they give you a bonus for waiting. People nowadays are living longer and longer. So it makes sense. You will end up with more money if you do that. The few situations where it's more beneficial to take it when you're younger is if you have a lot of severe health issues and you probably aren't going to make it too deep into your 70s, then you may consider taking it earlier. Or if you're in just a financial situation where you have absolutely no choice, but even then, I would try everything first before taking it early. If you can push it till 70, you're going to probably make a lot more money. Like, You
Did
even
they
take
give
it
any
now.
kind of numbers, like a differential? Like what's
I don't have the numbers with me right now. I should probably make my own video on this as well,
Yes,
just
you
because,
should.
you know, I think it's a really cool thing, especially with the math. But people are living longer, and the reality is most times you don't even need the money because you can't afford to quit working at 65 anyway. There's a lot of people out there who are 70 and they're still working. So especially if you've still got an income coming in, you'd be crazy to be, you know, taking your CPP early. You know, push it off as far as you can, because when you do, you get more money, and it's just going to make, when you do finally stop working, it's going to make the rest of your life so much easier.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because somebody asked me the other day, I've got a lot of friends that are thinking of retirement. They've done very well in their careers and they're talking retirement, retirement, retirement. I'm just starting to feel like I'm getting good at this game. Like I'm not sure that I'm ready to retire. Like if I fast forward and say I had 15, say I went, oh, I want to go 15 more years in my career. That puts me just below 70. And 15 years does not seem like a long time to me at all. Oops. Can you hear that? Yeah. Sorry, we had
that's an age verification check call.
Just call him to double check on his age. No, but I mean, it's one of these things, you know, I mean, I know my family, everybody always, I can't think of any of my family members that have like died before they've been in at least mid 80s. So, and I think it's like that for a lot of people with the state of medicine getting more and more, you know, people are getting healthier. People are living longer.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, I would not be surprised if within the next 10 years, if you see the government start to even try to shift CPP a little bit later all on their own. So that's the thing. But here's the other big thing. There's also another big myth. And this is one of the reasons I think people jump into CPP early too, is they're afraid that the government's just going to bankrupt the whole thing and it's going to go away. So they might as well get some before that happens. But that's a complete fallacy. Like CPP, it's not, if you take all that money people are paying into CPP, that money just doesn't go there and sit there. They've got some people who are insanely good at investing, who are investing that money and pulling returns back, and they're growing that money like crazy. You know, so that's where all that money is coming from.
Well, and he said he did a good job in that video of explaining just that we are so different from the US in this accord. The US with their social security down in the States is not managed in quite in the same way. And he had a term for it. Did they put a special committee in charge of the CPP to do what you said, Candace? It was called something.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but you know, there is a team that works that investment pie. I mean, it's a big pie. Now, you keep in mind, they do not invest in Bitcoin because there's no regulation.
Right. But they down the line, if they're like, if it's all funded properly.
Yeah, then we can have something happen. So it's kind of neat. And like there was a mad right now is just saying Canadian life expectancy has a nice uptrend graph. And that's exactly true.
Yeah. And Marie Claude wants to know what CPP is called. I think in Quebec it's called.
In Quebec, they have their own version. There's a Quebec pension plan. So I don't know if they call it QPP or QPC or something like that, but there's another name for it in Quebec.
So Marie Claude, it
is essentially the same thing, just Quebec manages it on the provincial level opposed to the federal level.
Yeah, so Marie Claude, it stands for Canada Pension Plan. And if you've been paying into it, which most everyone, if you're getting a paycheck, from your JOB, just over broke.
Well, here's the thing though. You pay, and what you're paying, your employer is paying that same amount in for you. So that's one of the things when you work for yourself, you end up having to pay both parts of it. So you end up paying twice as much CPP as somebody at a job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. So so I was very fascinated by that, and I look forward to if you do a deep dive on that, Candace. I'd be very interested to see your findings on it, and maybe even because the thing that was lacking there was he was giving just like he was talking about the concepts, but I'm a bit of a visual guy, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I'll bring the numbers in.
yeah.
When I do it, I'll bring the numbers in and I'll just show exactly, how much you'll save or how much more money you'll make over your lifetime, depending on how old you live. So,
Yeah. And Ken, did you ever think about that it would be more beneficial to take it later and later?
Yeah, as long as I'm not into some kind of financial crunch,
Right.
then yeah, it's set to take it as late as I can.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's really good.
Yeah.
So those were the main big topics that we had. We think we've covered just about everything off. Candace, what do you got going on this week over on Mountain Finance?
Yeah, tomorrow is my big cage match battle. It is Telus versus Bell versus Rogers. Which one of them is your best investment? We're going to tear them apart and we're going to find out. Holy banana bread. That will be exciting. And Sunday is a members only video coming out, and that's going to be my 5 favorite stocks. We'll have the live stream again on Tuesday. We'll be back, Tuesday. On Sunday, I'm losing time.
I was like, Tuesday? What? Since when?
I was just going to say, I missed it.
Yeah, no, we'll be back again Monday with another video. And Jill's going to have a video coming out fairly soon. I don't know if it's the Saturday or not. She hasn't sort of updated me, but she's doing a little series on the channel.
Excellent.
Nice.
Sort of like that whole financial diet type vibe. That's that. That's that whole financial IQ thing that I've been talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's gonna happen soon too. So it's all, it's all fun and games over on Mountain Finance and a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Oh, look at Teddy Gator gave us some numbers just to finish the conversation. Each year, your CPP will increase 8.4% per year if you start after 65. So is that cumulative? So it goes up
to 70. Up till 70, then it stops.
Right. So 8.4%. So if you were
compounded.
So yeah, I would love to see these numbers, Candace. So you
I'll break it all down. We'll get that. Let's do this a week from Saturday. I'll do that video.
Okay, perfect. And even if you could, after you do it on your channel, I'd just love to see your graph on a live stream after you've done it.
Of course.
Just so we can see, because I think it would be really cool to see what that looks like. And anyways, Ken, what have you got going on your channel? We've missed you. I
have no idea. I have a lot of new people popping on. We've been talking about the Bigfoot. We've been talking about Yetis.
Aren't they the same thing, Bigfoot and Yeti?
No, the Yeti lives up in the mountains in Calgary, apparently.
What?
And
I thought the Yeti lives in the Himalayas.
Well, there's a video of some guy that seen something that was very humanoid, and there was a big conspiracy behind him, and he ended up dead, and he was a Canadian, and it happened in BC.
Wow.
Check out my last Wednesday's live stream. You'll see all the details there.
Yes, Andrew has some time on his hands.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Not that far.
Oh, what's going on with Andrew?
Oh, he's in the market for a new job.
Yeah.
Well, I think he should be an entertainer because he's funny. Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
As long as he can squeeze the time in when he's not out in the woods wearing them big feet trying to create
I was just about to say, I was trying to leave that in, but go ahead.
Oh, Lord. Lord help us. So are you doing a regular stream, Ken? Because I have trouble falling asleep Saturday night when you're not on.
Well, my regular is Friday night. Saturday's going to be hit or miss. Depends on the missus, right? Yeah. She works Friday night, right? So Saturday is her night off. So sometimes it'll be me and her. Sometimes it'll be me and everybody on the internet. But I'm going to start streaming during the week, an hour here, an hour there in the evenings.
That's fun. And so that's good. Well, thank you guys for joining. I hope everybody is okay with the little time shift to 7 o'clock. We were just finding it really late for those of us that have to get up and be like, I'm back in the office now, and I'm loving it. I'm loving being back in the office, that regular routine, seeing people more regularly. And when they come, it's very festive. It feels like, oh, there's people here.
Awesome.
It's very wonderful. And so anyways, so it's real, we're getting up earlier and earlier. And so anyways, hard to be back. It was so much easier when we were in lockdown and we were just here. Now we're not just here, we're everywhere. So we look forward to having everybody join us next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
You won't be here.
I won't be here. I'm someplace. I'm in Ottawa. Coming to see. I'm going to see Candace in Ottawa. No, but I'm going to Ottawa on Tuesday night, and I will be home sometime late Wednesday night. So I'm hoping everybody will hold the fort down, and then I'll see you the following week. Anyway,
you need a shovel to come visit me, right? Because I live underground.
Well, she's going to knock on the window at the back there.
my face will be plastered in. Candace, hi.
You should almost send me a picture of that, and I'll actually Photoshop it into the window.
Yeah.
Nancy's here. She's behind us. See?
That's right. Yeah, don't let her in. Shush, hide. She's coming. Anyways, have a good night, everybody. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Night.
Good night, everybody.